Welcome to Next Chapter Living, where every page turns a new possibility.
Picture this. You move into the perfect model home, unpack the last box, and a month later, the HOA sends a notice saying you can't rent it out. That happened to a client last year, and it nearly cost them the trip they'd planned. Let me show you how to avoid that. I want to make 8 minutes here truly useful. You'll hear what documents to ask for, what lines actually change day-to-day life, a few red flags to watch, and a short checklist you can use right away. First, get the documents before you fall in love with the model home. Ask for the CC&Rs, the bylaws, the community rules, the reserve study or recent budgets, and the last several months of board minutes. That's the short list, but it's the right start. Curious, the CC&Rs are the big one. They spell out use restrictions, what you can and cannot do with your property. That line alone changes day-to-day life. Look for age rules. Is the community strictly 55 plus or more flexible? Check resale or rental limits. Is there a right of first refusal that could slow a sale? And watch for exterior modification rules that make every small change need committee approval. The bylaws tell you how the board is chosen, voting rights, and governance timing. The rules and regs are where everyday living shows up. Pet rules, parking, amenity hours. And the minutes? That's where you hear how rules are actually enforced.
Money matters next, and you'll want to play detective.
Know exactly what HOA dues cover. Lawn care, roofs, exterior insurance, security. Don't assume.
Want an example? One community's dues might include roof replacement, another's might not. That difference can be a few $100s a month over time.
Ask for the reserve study and the last 2 years of budgets. A healthy reserve reduces the chance of surprise special assessments. If dues have jumped sharply in recent years, ask why. If management dodges that, consider it a red flag.
Amenities sell communities, but the policies around them shape how you actually live there. Want an example? Picture this. The pool is booked for private events 3 nights a week. Now what? Golf carts are another classic. Some associations treat carts like vehicles. Registration, insurance, restricted streets. Others are much looser. If you imagine evening cart rides to dinner, confirm the rules in writing. Don't rely on what a salesperson remembers. So, pets and parking trip people up more than you'd think. A community may say pet-friendly, but limit size or breeds. Parking rules can limit guest stays or force you to use a garage instead of a hobby space. If you plan grandkids or regular visitors, imagine a typical weekend and then check the policy against that scenario. So, what should make you pause? Vague language is a big one. Phrases like owner may be required or grants giving the board unchecked discretion. Also check for pending litigation in disclosures. It's not always fatal, but it deserves follow-up questions. Imagine a board vote at 7 p.m. that raises your dues 20%. You want to know if that's likely. Ask to see recent minutes that show voting patterns on big projects.
Negotiation-wise, you have options. Request escrowed funds for known repairs. Add written clarifications into your purchase contract about rules that matter to you, and ask the seller for recent minutes showing enforcement on controversial policies.
Quick real-world one. A couple loved a neighborhood but planned to rent while traveling. The CC&Rs limited rentals and required board approval. We caught that early, switched communities, and saved them a future headache. Little lines like that matter more than the view. Okay, here's a simple 3-step playbook you can use on showings. 1. Request CC&Rs, bylaws, the last 2 years of budgets and reserve studies, and 6 months of minutes before you make an offer. 2. Compare annual dues plus the last 3 years of increases, and note any special assessments or planned capital projects. 3. Talk to at least 2 current residents and visit on a weekday and a weekend evening to see how the place actually functions. A few verification tips. Have your agent pull violation and complaint histories if available. Ask the HOA manager about vendor contracts and warranties. And, very important, have an attorney or experienced agent review any clause you don't understand before you sign. I can point out what the documents say. A lawyer interprets binding legal language.
Here's the short checklist to download and use: CC&Rs and bylaws, community rules, latest budget and reserve study, minutes from the last 6 months and the last 2 years for votes on projects, a list of current or planned special assessments, details on pet, golf cart, and parking policies, and the history of dues increases for the last 3 years. Put those side by side and let facts, not brochures, drive your decision.
If you're thinking about Pasco County, Land O'Lakes, or the Tampa Bay area, I can help run the documents and point out the lines that matter. Visit nextchapterliving.com to download the HOA checklist from this episode. And if you want a deeper look, schedule a community review with me. I'll pull the documents and walk through them line by line.
Thinking about relocating to Florida? I'd love to share local insights, answer questions, and help you understand what life in Pasco County, Land O'Lakes, and Angeline is really like. I'm Matthew Troncone, broker associate with Mahara & Associates. Thanks for listening to Next Chapter Living, real conversations about relocating, downsizing, and living well.
Thank you for tuning in to Next Chapter Living. Join us again for more stories worth giving. Until next time, let your journey ignite. Live your best life and keep your dreams in sight.